You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Most people don't fail because they lack motivation. They fail because they rely on motivation at all. Think about it. You promise yourself you'll wake up early, eat healthier, read more, work harder. It works for a few days, maybe a week, and then life happens. Stress hits, discipline fades, and suddenly, you're right back where you started, wondering why change feels so impossible. This is the exact problem Atomic Habits exist to solve. In Atomic Habits, James Clear isn't just talking about habits, he's making a bold argument. Massive success is not the result of massive action. It's the outcome of tiny decisions repeated consistently over time. Your life, your career, your health, and even your confidence are nothing more than the compound interest of your daily behaviors. This book completely flips the way we think about self-improvement. Instead of asking, "How do I achieve this big goal?" Clear asks a far more powerful question. Who do I need to become, and what small systems will make that identity inevitable? In this video, we're not doing a surface-level summary. We're breaking this book down layer by layer. First, we'll explore why habits are so hard to change and how your brain is secretly working against you. Then we'll analyze Clear's famous 4 laws of behavior change with real-life examples, from the workplace, relationships, fitness, and personal growth. We'll dig into the deeper ideas most summaries skip, including identity-based habits, environment design, and why willpower is overrated. Finally, we'll turn these ideas into a clear action plan you can actually use starting today. This book is for anyone who feels stuck. If you've tried to change your life and failed, this book explains why. If you want better habits without burning out, this book gives you a system. And if you believe small actions don't matter, this book will prove you wrong. By the end of this video, you won't just understand Atomic Habits. You'll see your daily life differently and realize how close real change actually is. Why Atomic Habits matters. To understand why Atomic Habits became a global phenomenon, we need to understand the person behind the book and the moment it arrived. James Clear didn't start as a productivity guru. His credibility comes from experience, not hype. In high school, Clear was hit in the face by a baseball bat during practice. The injury was severe, multiple fractures, brain swelling, and a long, uncertain recovery. At one point, doctors weren't sure he would fully return to normal. His comeback didn't happen through a single heroic effort, but through small, consistent improvements, physical therapy, daily routines, incremental progress. That recovery shaped his philosophy. Later, Clear became a writer focused on habits, decision-making, and continuous improvement. His weekly newsletter grew to millions of readers, not because of flashy motivation, but because his ideas were practical, evidence-based, and repeatable. Atomic Habits is the distilled result of years of research across psychology, neuroscience, and behavioral economics, combined with lived experience. Atomic Habits was published in 2018, during a time when hustle culture was peaking. Everywhere you looked, people were preaching, grind harder, wake up at 5 a.m., and outwork everyone. At the same time, burnout, anxiety, and inconsistency were becoming the norm. This book landed like a counterpunch. Instead of pushing more effort, Clear argued for better systems. Instead of motivation, he emphasized environment design. Instead of overnight transformation, he focused on long-term behavior change. In a world obsessed with viral success, Atomic Habits offered a sustainable framework. Why it still applies today. If anything, this book is even more relevant now. We live in a distraction-heavy world. Notifications, algorithms, endless scrolling, remote work, and blurred boundaries between rest and productivity. Habits now shape not just our success, but our mental health. Clear's ideas help people regain control without relying on superhuman discipline. Whether you're trying to build a fitness routine, improve focus at work, learn a new skill, or break destructive patterns, the principles in this book apply across cultures, careers, and lifestyles. Before we go further, here are 3 core concepts that power the entire book. Atomic habits, tiny habits or changes that seem insignificant on their own but compound into remarkable results over time. Identity-based habits, the idea that real behavior change happens when habits become part of who you believe you are, not just what you want to achieve. The habit loop, a 4-step cycle. Cue, craving, response, reward. That explains how habits are formed and maintained. With this foundation in place, we're ready to break down what the book is actually trying to teach. What Atomic Habits is really teaching. At its core, Atomic Habits is about one powerful idea. Small habits, repeated daily, create extraordinary outcomes. But this book goes deeper than small steps matter. James Clear is arguing that success is not a goal problem. It's a system problem. If you're not getting the results you want, it's not because you lack ambition. It's because your daily systems are not aligned with your desired identity. The main theme. The central theme of the book is compounding improvement. Clear introduces the idea that improving by just 1% each day doesn't seem dramatic in the moment, but over time, those tiny gains multiply. Likewise, tiny negative habits also compound. Eating slightly too much, skipping one workout, procrastinating for 20 minutes. Individually, harmless. Repeated daily, transformational, in the wrong direction. Your habits are either building you up or breaking you down. There is no neutral. The book teaches 3 major shifts in thinking. 1. Focus on systems, not goals. Goals are outcomes. Systems are the processes that lead to those outcomes. Winners and losers often have the same goals. What separates them is the structure of their daily routines. 2. Change your identity, not just your behavior. Instead of saying, "I want to run a marathon," say, "I am becoming a runner." Every small habit is a vote for the type of person you want to become. 3. Design your environment to make good habits easier and bad habits harder. Discipline is unreliable. Environment is powerful. If your phone is on your desk, you'll check it. If fruit is on the counter, you'll eat it. The bigger message. What makes Atomic Habits different from many self-help books is that it doesn't rely on motivation or inspiration. It's practical and behavioral. It treats habits almost like engineering problems. Clear gives you a framework, the 4 laws of behavior change, that acts like a blueprint for building good habits and breaking bad ones. By the end of the book, you're not just inspired, you have a repeatable system. Now that we understand the foundation, it's time to go deeper. Next, we'll break this down chapter by chapter, interpret the ideas, and apply them to real-life scenarios. Chapter by chapter. Breakdown. Chapter 1. The Power of Tiny Changes. Clear begins by showing that tiny, consistent improvements lead to huge results over time. Progress is often invisible at first, which causes many people to quit during the valley of disappointment. For example, saving just $5 a day feels trivial, but over a decade it grows into thousands of dollars. The key takeaway is that small habits compound like interest, slow, steady, and almost imperceptible at first, but life-changing in the long run. Chapter 2. How your habits shape your identity. Habits are more than actions. They are statements about who you are. Clear argues that behavior change is most effective when it aligns with your identity. For instance, someone who wants to quit smoking succeeds more often by saying, "I am not a smoker," than "I'm trying to quit." Each habit is a vote for your identity, and repeating small positive actions gradually transforms who you believe yourself to be. Chapter 3. How habits are formed. Clear explains the habit loop. Cue to craving to response to reward. Habits form because they satisfy a need, even if the behavior is bad. For example, scrolling social media relieves boredom and stress, giving a small dopamine hit. By identifying the cue and the reward, you can change the response. Understanding this loop makes habits editable, allowing you to replace harmful behaviors with ones that support your goals, like reading a page instead of scrolling. Chapter 4. The Man Who Didn't Look Right. Through the story of a coach who noticed subtle changes in a player before a medical issue arose, Clear illustrates that habits reflect health and mindset. For example, a coworker suddenly skipping workouts or arriving late could signal burnout. Tracking small patterns instead of only outcomes helps spot issues early. Awareness of habitual behavior provides a lens into your physical, emotional, and professional well-being, allowing timely adjustments before bigger problems develop. Chapter 5. Make it obvious. The first law of behavior change is visibility. Make cues for good habits obvious. For instance, leaving a water bottle on your desk encourages hydration, or keeping a book by your bed increases reading. Clear emphasizes that environment shapes behavior more reliably than motivation alone. By strategically placing reminders in your surroundings, good behaviors become easier to perform, while bad behaviors are harder to engage in. Chapter 6. Habit stacking. Clear introduces habit stacking, linking a new habit to an established one. For example, after brushing your teeth in the morning, you meditate for 2 minutes. This uses momentum from existing routines and reduces reliance on memory or motivation. Over time, stacking small habits builds a chain reaction, making it easier to adopt additional behaviors, like journaling after your morning coffee or stretching after breakfast. Chapter 7. Make it attractive. The second law focuses on increasing the appeal of habits. We repeat actions we enjoy or anticipate positively. For example, listening to a favorite podcast while exercising makes the workout more enticing. Clear explains that dopamine drives motivation, so pairing a desirable activity with a habit increases consistency. By making habits enjoyable, you're more likely to repeat them long-term without relying on sheer willpower. Chapter 8. Social influence. Human behavior is strongly influenced by the people around us. Clear shows that habits spread through social norms. For instance, joining a running club with consistent participants makes it easier to run regularly. Surrounding yourself with motivated peers raises standards and expectations, making healthy routines feel natural rather than forced. Social influence shapes behavior just as powerfully as personal discipline, highlighting the importance of environment beyond physical cues. Chapter 9. Make it easy. The third law emphasizes reducing friction to increase consistency. For example, if you want to work out in the morning, sleep in your workout clothes so there's less resistance. Similarly, pre-cut vegetables make healthy eating effortless. By simplifying actions and removing obstacles, consistency becomes easier than relying on motivation. Small changes that reduce effort can have a disproportionately large effect on habit formation. Chapter 10. The 2-minute rule. Clear advises scaling new habits down to 2 minutes to overcome resistance. For instance, if your goal is reading, start with 1 page per day instead of a chapter. Once you show up, momentum often carries you further. This method lowers the psychological barrier to starting, reinforcing consistency. The focus shifts from perfect performance to repeated engagement, making it easier to turn tiny actions into long-term habits. Chapter 11. Make it satisfying. Immediate rewards. Reinforce habits and drive repetition. Clear explains that habits with instant gratification stick better. For example, using a habit tracker and checking off completed workouts provides visual satisfaction and motivation to continue. When progress feels tangible, the brain links pleasure to behavior, making consistent action more likely. Adding small rewards bridges the gap between effort and long-term payoff, keeping habits alive until results compound. Chapter 12. Accountability and Tracking. Tracking creates awareness and increases commitment. Clear demonstrates that what gets measured improves. For example, counting daily steps or logging workouts encourages consistency because progress becomes visible. Accountability can also come from sharing goals publicly. Awareness combined with responsibility ensures habits are maintained, helping you recognize patterns, celebrate progress, and correct lapses before they derail long-term growth. Chapter 13. Breaking Bad Habits. To eliminate bad habits, invert the 4 laws. Make them invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying. For instance, if you want to stop snacking on junk food, store it out of sight, make healthy alternatives appealing, and track every indulgence. Clear emphasizes that removing triggers and creating friction is more effective than relying on willpower or guilt. Behavioral design is key. Change your environment, and the behavior follows. Chapter 14. Plateaus and Mastery. Long-term success requires consistency, even when motivation fades. Clear shows that plateaus are normal in habit development. For example, a musician practicing scales daily may feel progress slows, but mastery comes from repeated effort. Professionals excel by showing up despite boredom or minimal excitement. Sustained habits compound quietly, and enduring discipline is what separates temporary success from lasting achievement. Chapter 15. The Downside of Habits. Habits increase efficiency, but can also limit growth if left unexamined. Clear warns that routines may blind us to needed change. For instance, following the same work schedule for years may feel productive, but could prevent learning new skills. Regular reflection and adaptation ensure habits continue to serve goals. Conscious evaluation prevents stagnation and keeps growth intentional rather than automatic. Exploring the core principles of atomic habits. Pillar 1. The problem. Why habits fail. Most people struggle to change because they focus on goals instead of systems. They rely on motivation, willpower, or occasional bursts of effort, which are unreliable and fade over time. Clear points out that bad habits are often invisible, attractive, easy, and satisfying. They exploit human psychology. Example, you tell yourself, "I'll start exercising tomorrow," but your couch, TV, and social media are more rewarding in the moment. Even the most motivated person will fail if their environment is misaligned. This pillar explains that the real problem is not laziness. It's a flawed system and environment that reinforces habits you don't want. Pillar 2. The Solution. Small changes, big systems. Clear's core solution is deceptively simple. Focus on tiny, repeatable habits that compound over time. These atomic habits are small enough to do daily, yet powerful when compounded. The 4 laws of behavior change form the framework. 1. Make it obvious. Design cues that trigger positive behavior. 2. Make it attractive. Pair habits with things you enjoy. 3. Make it easy. Reduce friction to increase consistency. 4. Make it satisfying. Provide immediate rewards to reinforce action. Example, to floss daily, leave floss next to your toothbrush, obvious. Use flavored floss, attractive. Start with 1 tooth, easy. And check it off in a habit tracker, satisfying. Over time, small actions like this become automatic and identity shaping. This pillar teaches that systems matter more than motivation. Identity-based habits, I am a healthy person, instead of I want to lose weight, are far more effective. Pillar 3. The nuance. Beyond the basics. While the 4 laws create a strong foundation, Clear introduces advanced strategies that most summaries skip. Habit stacking. Attach a new habit to an existing one for effortless adoption. Example, meditate after brushing teeth. Environment design. Optimize your surroundings to make good habits easier and bad habits harder. Example, keep junk food out of the house. Place water bottles on your desk. Plateaus and mastery. Habits compound quietly. Visible results lag behind effort. Example, writing 1 page daily may feel trivial, but in a year it creates a full manuscript. Clear also warns about the downside of habits. Routines can make you efficient, but blind you to change. Reflection is essential to ensure habits stay aligned with evolving goals. Key lessons from Atomic Habits. 1. Small habits. Compound into big results. Success doesn't come from sudden, massive effort. It comes from small, consistent actions repeated over time. In the U.S. workplace, this principle is visible when employees build expertise through incremental improvement. Example, reading just 10 pages of a professional development book each day may seem minor, but after a year you've completed dozens of books and gained insights that can set you apart in performance reviews or promotions. 2. Focus on systems, not goals. Goals are outcomes. Systems are the processes that produce those outcomes. Relying on motivation alone is unreliable because energy and focus fluctuate daily. U.S. startups and corporations often fail when they chase ambitious KPIs without establishing repeatable workflows. Example, instead of saying, "I want to run a marathon," plan 3 consistent 20 to 30-minute runs per week. Over time, the system makes the goal inevitable, reducing stress and procrastination. 3. Identity shapes behavior. Habits aren't just actions, they reinforce who we believe we are. In U.S. culture, where personal branding and self-perception are vital, identity-based habits create lasting change. Example, saying, "I am a healthy eater," makes avoiding junk food easier than simply saying, "I want to eat healthier." In workplaces or family life, this subtle shift changes choices without relying on sheer willpower. 4. Environment drives habits. Your surroundings often determine behavior more than discipline. Americans live in environments full of distractions, phones, social media, and convenience foods, which makes habit design crucial. Example, keeping a reusable water bottle on your desk increases hydration, while removing sugary snacks from the kitchen reduces mindless eating. In offices, rearranging the environment can make healthy, productive choices the default. 5. Immediate rewards. Reinforce habits. The brain is wired to repeat behaviors that feel satisfying. Long-term rewards like career advancement or weight loss are often delayed, so creating instant gratification keeps habits alive. Example, use a habit tracker to mark completed workouts or sales calls. Seeing daily progress reinforces motivation, which is especially useful in competitive corporate or fitness-focused environments. 6. Social influence matters. We are influenced by the people around us. In the U.S., social groups, colleagues, and peer networks strongly shape behavior. Surrounding yourself with high-performing, disciplined individuals naturally reinforces good habits. Example, joining a team fitness class or a professional mastermind group encourages accountability. Positive social pressure increases consistency and helps habits stick, whether at work or in personal life. 7. Start small with the 2-minute rule. New habits should be easy to start. Focusing on consistency rather than intensity lowers resistance and reduces burnout, a major challenge in the fast-paced U.S. workplace. Example, begin meditating for just 2 minutes each morning or writing 1 paragraph per day. Small wins accumulate momentum, making it easier to expand the habit over time. 8. Track and reflect regularly. Monitoring progress ensures habits are effective and aligned with goals. Reflection prevents stagnation and allows adjustment before patterns become unproductive. Example: keeping a weekly journal to track work habits, exercise, or spending helps identify inefficiencies. In the U.S., where time and productivity are highly valued, this habit allows professionals to course-correct before problems escalate. The lessons of atomic habits aren't abstract. They are practical, evidence-based strategies that work in everyday American life, whether in the office, at home, or in social circles. Tiny, identity-aligned habits, supported by deliberate systems, designed environments, and social reinforcement, create lasting personal and professional transformation. Turning atomic habits into daily life. Understanding atomic habits is one thing, but applying them is where real change happens. James Clear's framework works best when translated into actionable systems that fit into your daily life, whether at work, home, or in your social circles. Here's how Americans can put these principles into practice. 1. Design your environment for success. Your environment either supports good habits or reinforces bad ones. Start by making the cues for good behaviors obvious and removing triggers for unwanted habits. Example: keep a water bottle on your desk and a fruit bowl in the kitchen. Remove soda and chips from your pantry. At work, place your most important tasks at the top of your to-do list and leave distractions like social media apps logged out on your computer. Mistake to avoid. Thinking motivation alone will carry you through. Even the most disciplined person struggles if their environment is working against them. 2. Use habit stacking for daily consistency. Combine new habits with existing routines to reduce friction and improve adherence. Example: after you brew your morning coffee, spend 2 minutes journaling or reviewing your top priorities for the day. After brushing your teeth, do a 1-minute stretch or meditate. These tiny routines become automatic when attached to something already ingrained. Mistake to avoid: trying to add big habits all at once. Massive goals without a foundation create resistance and failure. 3. Start small and scale gradually. Apply the 2-minute rule. Start with a habit that is so small it's impossible to fail. Consistency matters more than intensity. Example: want to exercise? Start by putting on workout clothes and walking for 2 minutes. Want to read more? Read 1 page a day. The goal is to show up, build momentum, and gradually expand the habit. Mistake to avoid: overcommitting too early. Jumping into an hour-long gym session or reading an entire book in one day often leads to burnout. 4. Track your progress and celebrate wins. Measuring behavior makes habits visible and reinforces action. Habit tracking taps into immediate rewards, which keeps you motivated. Example: use a calendar or an app to mark workouts, steps walked, pages read, or sales calls completed. Seeing streaks grow reinforces your progress and turns abstract goals into tangible achievements. Mistake to avoid: tracking inconsistently. Without feedback, habits fail to stick because the brain doesn't associate effort with reward. 5. Leverage social influence. Surround yourself with people who embody the habits you want to adopt. Social norms strongly shape behavior in American workplaces and communities. Example: join a team-running club, a professional mastermind group, or a cooking class focused on healthy meals. Being part of a group makes accountability natural and makes positive habits feel normal. Mistake to avoid: attempting habit change in isolation. Without social reinforcement, it's easy to slip back into old patterns. 6. Focus on identity-based habits. Rather than aiming for outcomes alone, reinforce the identity you want to embody. Each habit is a vote for who you are. Example: say, I am a professional writer, instead of, I want to write a book. This identity shift changes how you think, prioritize, and act every day. At work, saying, I am an organized professional, encourages consistent task management without relying on motivation. Mistake to avoid: ignoring the identity factor. Habits without identity often fail because they don't become part of who you are. 7. Reflect and adjust regularly. Even good systems need occasional calibration. Regular reflection ensures habits stay aligned with goals and adapt to life changes. Example: at the end of each week, review what worked and what didn't. Did your morning exercise routine consistently happen? Did your work habits help you meet deadlines? Adjust cues, rewards, or timing to improve consistency. Mistake to avoid: assuming once a habit is set, it will run automatically. Life changes, and so must your habits. Start with one small habit today. Make it obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. Track it, attach it to a routine, and reflect weekly. Within weeks, the compounding effect will be visible, whether it's fitness, productivity, relationships, or financial goals. Atomic Habits isn't about sudden transformation. It's about designing a life where good behaviors are inevitable and bad behaviors are difficult. Apply these systems consistently, and small actions will create massive results. The strengths and weaknesses of Atomic Habits. Strengths: practical, evidence-based, and actionable. One of the book's strongest points is its practical framework. Clear doesn't rely on vague motivational advice. He provides actionable strategies backed by behavioral science and real-world examples. The 4 laws of behavior change: make it obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying, are simple, memorable, and easy to implement. Example: in American workplaces, applying habit stacking or environment design can dramatically increase productivity without requiring extreme willpower. These strategies work across personal and professional life, making the book universally applicable. Another strength is identity-based habits. Most self-help books focus on outcomes. Clear emphasizes identity, which taps into psychology to make habits sustainable. This approach addresses a root cause, not just symptoms. Limitations: oversimplification and lack of deep context. While Atomic Habits is highly practical, it sometimes oversimplifies complex behavioral challenges. For example, habits are deeply intertwined with socioeconomic factors, mental health, and cultural differences, which the book touches on only lightly. In the U.S., people with high-stress jobs, chronic illness, or limited resources may find it harder to implement these habits than the examples suggest. Additionally, some of the book's examples lean toward idealized scenarios, making readers feel success is more linear than it actually is. Habits often involve setbacks, systemic barriers, and emotional struggles that require more nuanced approaches. Overall analysis: high value, minor caveats. Despite these limitations, Atomic Habits is one of the most practical and actionable books on behavior change in recent decades. Its strongest contribution is giving readers a repeatable framework they can apply immediately. The weaknesses don't undermine its value, but highlight that success also requires self-awareness, patience, and adaptation to one's unique circumstances. Takeaway: the book equips you with tools to design your life intentionally, but real-world application requires persistence and reflection beyond the framework. Let's recap the core lessons from Atomic Habits in rapid-fire mode. Tiny habits, massive impact. Small, consistent actions compound over time to create extraordinary results. Systems over goals. Focus on the routines that produce results rather than obsessing over the outcome. Identity drives behavior. Become the person you want to be, and your habits will follow naturally. Environment shapes. Action. Design your surroundings to make good habits easier and bad habits harder. Immediate rewards and tracking matter. Reinforce habits with instant feedback, social support, and measurable progress. These 5 principles are your framework for lasting change. Master them, and habits stop being a struggle. They become automatic, a challenge for you. Here's your actionable homework. Pick one tiny habit you want to start today and apply the 4 laws of behavior change. Make it obvious. Place the cue where you'll see it. Make it attractive. Pair it with something you enjoy. Make it easy. Start small, just 2 minutes if necessary. Make it satisfying. Track your progress or reward yourself immediately. Example: want to read more? Leave a book on your pillow, obvious. Read while sipping coffee, attractive. Start with 1 page, easy. And check it off in a habit tracker, satisfying. Start small. Track your progress. Reflect weekly. Over time, this tiny habit will compound into meaningful change, just like Clear's research shows. Final thought. Atomic Habits is more than a book about self-improvement. It's a blueprint for designing your life. By focusing on small systems, identity, and environment, you can turn good intentions into consistent action. The journey may be gradual, but the results are unstoppable.